absolutely going to be blown away by this next episode. We just met with Kara Schug, who's a transformational coach, podcast host, and keynote speaker who's turned her journey from extreme poverty to extraordinary success into a mission of empowering others. Creator of Think Your Way to an Epic Life podcast, she's helped hundreds of professionals break through their limitations by mastering mindset and personal development. From surviving a challenging childhood to becoming a successful coach and business owner, Kara's dedicated her life to helping people transform their biggest obstacles into their greatest opportunities. Working with top development experts and spoken to thousands, she brings practical, proven strategies for creating radical personal change. Her philosophy is simple. The person you can help is the person you used to be. So definitely excited to share Kara with you today. Hi there, and welcome to the Power Up Your Life podcast brought to you by GoBundance Women. I am Kelly Resendez.
And I'm Mandy McAllister.
And we are so excited and blessed to have Kara here with us today. Kara, welcome, and would just love for you to share a little bit about your journey.
Thank you so much for having me. I have nothing but respect for GoBundance, and I'm so grateful to you all who have been on my podcast several times. I started in real estate in 2002 with Coldwell Banker, kind of fighting and kicking, saying, no, I don't want to be a realtor, and like, no. However, it was exactly what I was supposed to be doing. I was with Coldwell Banker for 9 years and did really well. I didn't come out of the gate really well because I was fighting it, but did really well in real estate. Bought a Remax in 2011, had that for 9 years, and then was recruited to Keller Williams to be a coach. And that's where my heart is, big time.
Oh, so you're in coaching now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Would you say, just kind of digging in a little bit, like your wisdom over your entire career of really like building a business, like what really sticks out to you as like the core foundation for what somebody needs to be able to create success in their business?
I would say relationships are the number one most important thing, and the most important relationship that you have by far, and it sounds ridiculous, but is you. It's your relationship with yourself, and you have to get to know who you are. You have to be able to count on yourself, which takes a lot of work.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. We say a lot that you can't scale your net worth beyond your self-worth. I so completely agree with what you're saying. So many of our members, all of our members, and so many of our listeners are, trying to fit in all of the things. They're moms, they're business owners, and they want to scale without the burnout and without the making it too hard or having to give anything up. I'm curious for you, what are some things that you really pay attention to just actionably to scale a business?
The number one thing is relationships. And as a leader, if you are a servant leader, your people will do anything for you. They will go to the mats, as the guys would say. I'll go to the mats for you, which, wouldn't do much good for me to go to the mats, but, but I would do it. I would do it for you. And if people feel that from you and they feel that they're being taken care of, they feel that they're respected, they feel like they're part of something that's bigger than themselves, the stress on you as a leader is reduced massively. I think that's the hardest part about building a business by far is the people, is getting people that are ready, willing, and able to do the job that is necessary.
Yeah, for sure. And what would you say, like, if you were going to give somebody like tips on building influence, right? So yes, relationships are super important. Being a servant leader, wildly important, but like, how do you build that level of influence where you are attracting in these people that are important relationships in your life?
I'm going really old school here.
Okay.
Not Think and Grow Rich.
How to Win Friends
How
and
to Win
Influence
Friends.
People.
Thank you, Dale Carnegie.
Yes.
Yeah. How to Win Friends and Influence People, and apply that. It is so important. And when you're building these relationships, you can't be building them thinking I'm going to get something out of you. If I'm really nice to you, Mandy, then I'm going to get something out of you. Mandy's going to feel that big time, and so will everyone else. And so if you really go through your life and you apply what you learn in that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, be really interested in other people. Don't and heal yourself.
Yeah.
When you heal your own ego and you let go of all those saboteurs. Have you ladies read Positive Intelligence?
No.
Not yet.
Whoa, you're going to love me. I mean, telling you, it is amazing. Not that you don't already, but seriously, you can go on, you can just Google, everybody listening, you can go Google Positive Intelligence Saboteur Test. And it's really quick. It's really a quick test, and it will tell you what is holding you back. It will tell you very, very clearly that you're a people pleaser, and you get scores on all these different things. And that has to be healed, because if you have these things, you got to understand, we are 100%, we've got 100% of our brain. We're using 5 to 10% of it. And that's what we generally coach to, is the 5 to 10%. When you can coach to the whole person, the 95% or the 90%, depending on, different experts say different things about our brain. But if you can coach to the subconscious and you can heal yourself, people are naturally attracted to you. You don't have to try. And when people are trying, you feel it. It's like, oh, you're my friend. Oh, Kelly, what can we, and you're going, lady, you don't care about me. I can feel it all the way through my bones. And so that's what it's about, is getting right with yourself.
No.
There's a definite ick factor associated with the trying too hard, or that taker energy. You know, I so firmly believe that. You know, one thing that while scaling, everybody gets stuck somewhere. And I think you're in this really unique position that, you know, number one, we first bonded over Tony Robbins training being our gateway drug to this personal development stuff. But you also have been a coach to many, many high performers. I'm curious, for yourself and other patterns that you've seen across these high performers, what are some actionable things people and you do to get yourself unstuck when you feel that way?
One of the biggest things, and it's going to sound way too easy, but really success is simple. It really is. It's habitual. Is breathing. We don't breathe enough. When you're nervous, you're upset, you're angry, whatever, you're having a negative emotion, you tend to hold your breath. And we as humans are the only species that does this. And we hold our breath, and that makes us pretty stupid. I'm sorry, but it does. It makes us stupid because you're not using your whole brain. And when you're breathing and you're really seriously, deeply breathing, that's a huge gain for you.
Oh my gosh, there's the power of breath alone. You know, most people don't realize how tied to our nervous system it is, and that most of us are shallow breathing all the day, you know, all day long without even thinking about it. No, that's a great one. So I'm breathing, I'm getting into the present moment, and I'm still lacking some clarity. Like, how do you help your clients get clarity? Because I know one thing, you know, coaching agents for a long time in my own career, you know, sometimes people get tired of doing the same things over and over again. And so they start to get the shiny object kind of deal or whatever, which a lot of times takes them away from their foundation. But like, how do you help them in that situation where they feel stuck, they don't have clarity, and they're not kind of connected to their own success?
And you're assuming that they are in coaching?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You're coaching them.
I'm coaching them.
You are the expert right now. Everyone's listening.
Let's do this. So first of all, you've got to get centered. You really, breathing is one way. You need to be doing meditation, guys. I know that might sound foo-foo, and not to you ladies. I know you get it, but it might sound foo-foo. Like meditation, seriously, we're drivers. There's not one lady on the screen right now that's not a driver. And you're telling me you want me to sit and be quiet and be curious and breathe? Like, I have 25 things to do. You have no idea. Look at my calendar. The best thing you can do is be quiet, be curious, breathe deeply. really. And so I would get them breathing. I would get them in what I call get in state. And so we'd do Sufi breathing, which is, oh, see, you got me. You're right there. 2 in, just, and I do want to talk about breathing just a little bit. When you do mouth breathing, it can be dangerous. If you go too far, you could literally pass out. So if you get into a point where you're breathing and you're feeling, whoa, this is weird, stop mouth breathing and do it through your nose. The reason we want to start with mouth breathing is we want to get you into a state as quickly as we can so we can access your subconscious mind and you know the answers. I wish I could say as the coach, I know exactly what you need and what you should do. And here's what it is. And if you have a coach that ever says that to you without asking you any questions, fire them immediately.
Yeah.
The answers are inside of you. And so I get you breathing, and then I'll start, instead of asking you a question, because if I ask you, Kelly, what color is your shirt? You're going to go to a certain place in your brain. If I say, Kelly, finish this sentence, my shirt is, you go to a different part of your brain that's more the subconscious. And so I'll get you breathing really good, and then I'll start sentence finishing with you. Okay. And so let's say, for example, I say, when I think of the ocean, and you say, when I think of the ocean, I think of God. When I think of the ocean,
margaritas, sorry.
Margaritas, yes, the toes in the sand and the whole bit, right? And so we keep going on that until you hit something deep. And maybe there's nothing deep at the ocean for you, but maybe there is, and maybe you had repressed it, and you put it deep down in that cave that people fear to enter, as Joseph Campbell would say. But you have to enter it. That is my biggest, I would say, understanding who I am. And I started in 1990 with Tony Robbins. I was severe poverty before then, and 1990 and Tony Robbins. And I studied, and ladies, no exaggeration, I have probably read at least 1,000 books on self-development, on your brain, on all of these good things. And I worked 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 and I grinded. And I got to where I had worldly success. The world would have looked at my life and thought, it's pretty great. But it wasn't until I released all that childhood trauma, went through and released all of that, that's when I feel successful completely. I don't feel at all. You all know the struggle when you're climbing. You're like, oh, they're going to think this or they're going to think that. And you get to a point where you're like, no, I know. I've got this knowing inside of me that it's all good, and you can get there.
I love it. It's that deep inner knowing that you've got to learn how to listen to. That's a skill that isn't taught. I so firmly believe that. I heard somewhere that, praying is asking God for what you want, and meditating is listening for that answer. You've absolutely got to get quiet. And I think you're so right too, that success leaves cues. There's clues in there that you can tap into to figure out what's next. So, one thing that's really important to us as high performers, building businesses, trying to have influence, making sure that we're as impactful in our families as we could possibly be, trying to juggle too many things can put you into a place of burnout. Talk to me a little bit about what you do to avoid burnout, and maybe some healthcare hacks that you have, or self-care hacks that you have in there.
Well, you're talking to the right person on that for sure. I have some health issues, and because of those health issues, I've tried the medical route, and it didn't end well for me. And I read a book called Radical Remission. And I also had that lady on my podcast because I just had to meet her. I had to talk to her and get the answers directly from her. And in Radical Remission, there's a doctor who was in her undergrad and she was volunteering at a cancer center, and someone had a radical remission, and they told her about it. And she was freaking out. She's like, what? That's even possible? She had no idea. And they were told, please don't get the people in the waiting rooms hopes up. Don't talk to them about this, that you had this. Don't do that. And she thought, no, we need to tell the whole world about that. So she spent her name is Kelly too. She spent her entire school all the way through her PhD just studying people who had a radical remission. And all of those people do 10 things to be healthy. I was already doing 8 of them because of the health condition I was in, but 2 I wasn't doing. One was releasing past trauma, and the other was accepting social support. And so It's amazing. Immediately when I started doing that, the tumor started to shrink because those were the things that were missing.
Oh my goodness, that's so powerful. And I definitely, being our body has the power to heal. It really does, and not all things. And there's definitely a time and a place for getting, Western medicine into us. But I think for anyone listening, I think that it's taking responsibility for our own health and not trusting somebody else knows what it is. So I've worked with people that, were given 6-month, 12-month, terms on their life. And it's like, and when you don't believe it, like how powerful we are. Like when you just say like, no, I am definitely going to work on healing myself, whether it's a Joe Dispenza platform or just a different direction that you go, there's so much powerful goodness in that. So that's definitely unconventional, right?
Yeah.
What other unconventional, I would say, like beliefs or things do you have up your sleeve that would help? Everyone here is really about growing without sacrifice. So, we try to, I would say, help people before they have a life situation to awaken them. We want to awaken consciousness before people get to devastation. So like what other unconventional beliefs would you share with the audience today?
I would say to re-listen to what you just now said over and over and over, because so many of us wait until we absolutely have no other option. And that is so ridiculous. I went to Dr. Ron, who helped me release all that childhood trauma that I was genuinely believed was better off. I genuinely believed this. Please do not believe this. Please do not let the lie impact your life. I believed I was better off leaving that stuff back there. I had a really rough childhood. I'm going to leave it back there. That is the wrong answer, because guys, the issues are in your tissues. And when I know, I love that. I had a yogi say that the other day. I was doing a mastermind. He was on the front row and I'm like, yes, the issues literally are in the tissues. You stuff it down, you get hurt, you get pain, you get whatever, and you just keep stuffing it down and you keep stuffing it down. And eventually you will end up with a serious problem. So my advice to you is please do not wait. Please understand that there is no doctor out there. I don't care how powerful and wonderful of a doctor they are. They do not care about your body more than you do. No one cares about your body more than you do. And so take some responsibility. I had to catch myself there. Please take some responsibility and study health. Figure it out. Figure out what works for you. And every single body is different. And that's why I'm a little hesitant to tell you my regime, because it won't work for other people. I'm a vegan. I'm gluten-free. I'm pretty much sugar-free. I'm caffeine-free. I'm alcohol-free. Like all of these things, I went, and it's hard. It's very hard to be social when you're as anal about all that as I am. However, I got like, yes, functional health does a thing where you can do all this blood work and then they tell you what your biological age is. And ladies, I am happy to tell you, I'm still just flipped out by this, 17 years younger than my biological age.
Wow. Amazing.
It works. Like it works if you work it. And you just have to do it just like everything else, baby steps. Just a little bit. Please don't hear me and say, oh gosh, tomorrow I have to be a vegan and I have to do, no, maybe tomorrow you just have one meal that doesn't have meat in it. Or if that works for you. Now, my husband, he needs to eat meat. So it's not like I'm saying everyone should be a vegan. It needs to be what your body is telling you, and you need to test that out.
So many things here, Cal. First of all, I'm totally borrowing the issues are in the tissues. Whenever anything alliteration or rhyme, I'm all in. So a couple of things that you've said that impacted me really deeply. People first, being that servant leader and really showing up in a way that is so authentic. That matters to me so much. I'm so glad to hear you say that. And breathing and meditation. Whenever you are a really high achiever, the getting quiet is so counterintuitive sometimes, but it is the answer to tapping into that inner knowing. Kelly, what hit you the hardest?
Oh my gosh, so much. I mean, first of all, you're just so wise, and you know, your energy is what is a testament to the way that you're living. And I think you nailed it, where all of us have a different path to emotional and physical well-being, right? And for you, it's been this path or that path, and all of us just have to give ourselves more credit than what we have. Like, I think one of the challenges that we're seeing is how much we're looking. You know, you go on social media and someone's like, well, you need to eat this much protein, and you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to, and by the end of the day, you're like, I need to quit my job just to be able to get enough protein in. Like,
Yeah.
that's all I'm gonna be doing is like drinking water and eating protein or whatever it might be. So there's so much noise. And what we really need to do is actually get quiet.
Mhm.
Like, we need to get quiet and listen to our own bodies, and then be able to see how these things show up. And I think that it was just so powerful in this message of like, it is an inside out job. Like,
Right.
success is an inside out job. We all have been rewarded for being super productive and for being, you know, successful in business, when a lot of times that's just avoidance in disguise. And so, and it will catch up with you. And I think that's what you've kind of alluded to in your own life, is that you've had to go down that path, and sharing your story is what helps people find a different way, which is so important. So thank you so much. I mean, just so much goodness. You know, one of the most important things to us at GoBundance Women is just supporting other women as well. Not we support the men too, but we definitely want to make sure that we do that. Like, how can we support you? Like, what's the most important resource or connection or way that GoBundance Women or Mandy or myself can support you? Because I know it sounds like that was a piece, that one of those last remaining pieces, right, for you, and asking for help, receiving help. What does that look like?
You know, I would say the biggest thing right now is, you know, Dr. Ron and I have gone into business together, and we are we're going to co-lead the life and transformational division of coaching, for the coaching portal, which is going to be rolled out at the end of April with Smokey Garrett and that whole gang. And it would be fabulous if either one of you would go through even an hour of this kind of coaching with me, so that you could tell people what it's like,
Oh,
because it's
Glad
so
to
sign me
amazing.
up.
Sign me up. It's really amazing to be coaching. It's like you've got you, and there's 100% of you, but generally you're only being coached to the conscious part. And when you can coach right into the subconscious, stuff happens, and it's shocking. You will shock yourself. The words that will come out of your own mouth, you're like, oh my gosh. But you don't doubt it, because you know it's from the inner knowing. What's crazy about the subconscious is it doesn't have that. That's why you can be so messed up from 1 through 6. It's all subconscious, and everything that comes in, you believe it is true. You can tell your kids that there's a Santa Claus, and he comes down every chimney in the entire world every single year, and they will believe it. You can tell your kids that they are incredible and they can do anything, and they will believe it. You can tell your kids that they're an idiot and they're worthless, and they will believe it. And so it's so important that we get that stuff cleaned out, so that we can move on and have the life that we really do deserve. And when you do that, seriously, when you start to love yourself, and it sounds so narcissistic, but it's the opposite of that, because when you truly start to love yourself, nothing pours out of you but love for others.
Mm.
So beautiful. Kara, tell our listeners how they can best get a hold of you and listen to your podcast.
It's Think Your Way to an Epic Life. And you can get it anywhere podcasts are, Audible, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever. And you can find me, like my number is 505-264-3005. And I would love to talk to any of you. And if you would like a free discovery call, just let me know with myself or Dr. Ron. If you have a preference that you would rather have a male or a female, it doesn't matter who you work with, but it is the best thing I have. It's the best thing I've ever invested in my life by far. And I wish I could have found him 40 years ago.
Yeah. And for anyone listening, investing in yourself is the number one thing that you should do if you want to scale or grow whatever area of your life you really want to. So you have been an amazing guest, and I wish we would all be able to just hang out and have some caffeine-free tea together right now, or no sugar or whatever it might be. But you are absolutely wonderful and always in our prayers, and just, you're so powerful. And I know that you're just going to continue to make a massive impact in the world. So thank you so much for being here on the GoBundance Power Up Your Life podcast. Check out GoBundance Women at GoBundanceWomen.com. Always love to connect with all of you to put you in that right environment to scale your business without sacrifice. So thank you again, Kara.
Thank you. Hope to see you guys in Austin.
Yes.